The stars were quiet that night. On the edge of Varkeen space, a lonely listening post floated near the dark void. It was cold, empty, and forgotten, just like the signal it was about to receive. Lieutenant Riva sat alone in the control room. She had worked here for 6 years, listening to silence. Nothing ever came through, just background noise and the soft hum of machines. But tonight, something changed. A sharp beep cut through the air. Reva sat up straight. She checked the screen. A signal old, strange. Human. Her hand shook. That couldn't be right. Humans were going to wiped out more than 200 years ago in the Great Purge. Everyone knew that. Earth had been burned. Their ships destroyed. Their colonies erased. But this signal was real. She leaned closer. The pattern was unmistakable. A distress pulse in Earth's standard binary. The last part of the signal sent chills down her spine. "We see you." Reva's fingers raced over the controls. She activated the recorder and sent a high-priority alert to the Varkeen defense network. Then the station lights dimmed. Power dropped. Riva froze on the outer monitors. Something massive appeared from behind a dead moon. Huge, black, silent. No known markings. But the shape, the sharp wings, the old Earth design. It looked like a Terran dreadnought, but those were gone, weren't they? The station's alarms blared as power systems failed one by one. Reva stood, heart racing, staring at the monitor. The dreadnought turned. Facing them, she whispered, "Please don't." A bright light filled the sky. The station trembled. Then everything went dark. Across the Varkin sector, Reva's emergency alert raced through military channels. Within minutes, a meeting was called inside the orbital base of Sector Command. Admiral Jorak paced the room. He didn't believe in ghosts, but the data was real. Riva's final message had been short but clear. Unknown ship, human signal. Then silence. "Impossible," one officer muttered. "Earth is dead." "Then explain this," Jorak snapped, pointing to the screen. "That ship matches old human specs class Omega Dreadnought. No one else builds like that. In the signal, it's Earth code." Another officer looked pale, but Earth's last fleet vanished into the rift zone. "We never found the bodies." Jorak turned to his communications chief. "Send a recon. Drone to the last coordinates. I want visuals." "Yes, sir." 12 hours later, the recon drone reached the edge of the dead zone. It sent back one image, a burned-out listening post, shattered and floating in pieces. And behind it, the silhouette of the same ship, still waiting, watching, before the drone could turn. It was hit by a beam of silent energy. Transmission lost, deep inside a hidden system. Far from any known star map, the crew of the human ship sat in silence. Captain Ellen Vargas watched the screen. Her face was calm, cold, determined. "They noticed us," her first officer said. "They were meant to," Ellen replied. She looked out at the stars. "For too long, they've forgotten what they did to Earth. Let's remind them." Her hand hovered over a red button. A list of targets appeared on the screen. Trade hubs, military outposts, data vaults. Ellen smiled. "This is only the beginning." Back in the Varkeen capital, panic grew. 4 outposts had gone dark in the past. 2 days, no survivors, no messages. Just ash and silence. The council demanded answers, but there were none. The name Earth, once a forgotten word in old war stories, was now whispered again, not as a joke, but as a threat. Admiral Jorak knew they were dealing with something serious, something old, something angry. He ordered a task. 4-10 ships. Fully armed, they would find the unknown vessel, track it, stop it. He didn't know they were already too late. In the outer ring of the Helix cloud, the Varkeen fleet moved slowly through the mist. Static crackled. Visibility was poor. Then, one by one, their systems began to fail. First, the long-range scans, then targeting. Then, lights of voice came over the com's soft female and unmistakably human. "You left us in fire. Now we return the favor." The dreadnought appeared out of the clouds, silent and deadly. It fired once, then again and again, each shot was perfect, precise, terrifying. The Varkeen ships didn't stand a chance. In less than 90 seconds, the fleet was gone. The footage leaked. Someone on board had managed to transmit the final 30 seconds of battle. The galaxy saw it. The black dreadnought, the human markings, the cold message at the end. Earth remembers. Billions watched in silence. All at once, people began to ask the same question. What if Earth isn't gone? In schools, old history files were opened in war rooms. Ancient Terran battle plans were studied, and in the deep, quiet corners of the galaxy, fear returned. Because if the stories were true, even half of what the humans once were still lived, then no one was safe. No one far across the stars. The human fleet gathered near a red dwarf sun. Captain Vargas stood in front of her crew. 200 years ago, she said, her voice calm. They burned Earth. They turned their backs. They erased us. She paused. But we're still here. We survived. We adapted, and now we speak with fire. The crew cheered. Dozens of ships powered up around them. Old Terran ships rebuilt. Reforged. Deadly Vargas raised her hand. Phase 1 is complete. A map appeared. Glowing red targets lit up the screen. Now, we remind the galaxy who we are. And with that, the fleet jumped to light speed. The war Earth didn't start, had just begun. The grand hall of the Varkeen Empire buzzed with voices. High Command had gathered 12 top generals and 6 council speakers. Above them, a large holoscreen showed the burning remains of Fleet Alpha. One of the speakers, Lord Viren, laughed. Are we really here to panic over an old ghost story? General Sika leaned forward. That ghost destroyed 10 of our best warships in less than 2 minutes. Viren waved him off. A trick. A rogue AI, maybe. Pirates using ancient hulls. Humans are extinct. Another screen lit up behind them, a loop of the last seconds of the battle. The Black Dreadnought, its impossible speed, its unmatched firepower. And that final, chilling message, Earth remembers. No one laughed this time. General Sika turned to Viren. If this is pirates, why do they speak in Earth codes? Why does the ship's design match the Omega-class dreadnoughts, something only humans ever built? Viren stood and glared. Earth is gone. Dead. We made sure of it. Sika replied coldly, then who just destroyed our fleet? On the other side of the galaxy, a cargo ship named Silver Path drifted through neutral space. It was scheduled for routine trade between 2 peaceful systems. It never arrived. 1 minute, it was there. The next, it vanished from the network. The last broadcast was picked up by a civilian satellite. A large black ship descending from above. And the screams of the crew before the signal cut out. The attack sent shockwaves through the trade networks. Now it wasn't just military targets. Civilian vessels were being hunted too. Panic started to spread. Back in Varkeen Command, Admiral Jorak sat in a dark war chamber watching maps. Red marks appeared faster every hour. Destroyed outposts, missing ships, blacked out satellites. A junior officer ran in, pale and shaking. Sir, we've lost contact with Outpost 9, the one near the Argon mines. That's the 3rd today, Jorak muttered. There's more, the officer whispered. We picked up a transmission from the attack. Jorak turned slowly. Play it. The screen crackled, static. Then a voice soft, female cold. They laughed at Earth. Now they will remember it with fear. Then a final flash of light. Silence. Jorak stood. Enough. We're calling in the Flame Guard. The Flame Guard were the elite of the elite, an old special unit trained in ancient war tactics. They had been designed to counter Earth's military before its fall. Now, ironically, they were needed again, far away. In deep space, the dreadnought named Silent Judgment sat in orbit above a dead planet. Captain Ellen Vargas watched the burning ruins of the Varkeen mining colony below. Her face showed no emotion. They used this world to strip metal, her officer said. Millions of workers. None survived. She nodded. They erased us, so now we erase their works. They called Earth Week. Let them feel our strength now. An alert beeped. Another Varkeen fleet was approaching. Vargas smiled. Let them come. The Flame Guard fleet came in fast, 20 warships strong. Each ship was loaded with weapons meant to burn cities. Shields raised, cannons armed, fighters swarming like insects. Inside the command ship Stormclaw, Commander Talix gave the order, "Target the human vessel, full spread." No warnings. The moment they locked on, the dreadnought moved. It didn't dodge. It charged. Fighter ships rushed to intercept. The dreadnought cut through them like paper, 1-2-10 gone in seconds. No wasted shots. No mercy. The Varkeen warships fired. Dozens of plasma beams lit the sky. The dreadnought's shields shimmered, then absorbed the hits. Its return fire, precise, brutal. A Varkeen cruiser exploded in a single shot. Commander Talix shouted, "How?"
Our weapons can't even pierce its armor.
Then a new signal filled the Cum's open channel. "You trained to fight ghosts? Now meet the fire that made them." Boom, another ship gone. Then another. The dreadnought spun, leashed a wave of energy, and disabled 5 ships at once. The battle lasted 5 minutes. Only one Flame Guard vessel escaped. It limped away, smoking with one final message: "We are not prepared for this." Across the galaxy, fear turned to silence. Leaders who once mocked Earth now sat in emergency meetings. News feeds played the same scenes over and over. Black ships, dead fleets, a voice from the dark. Earth remembers. Whispers filled every corner of the galaxy. How many were there? Where had they been hiding? Why were they back? In the underground city of Theralon 6, 2 alien children played with toy ships. One of them pretended to be the Black Dreadnought. "Boom! Earth's ship wins again," he shouted. His friend frowned. "Don't say that. My dad says if we talk about Earth, bad things happen." First child whispered, "But what if Earth is the hero now?" At the edge of Varkeen space, another outpost blinked off the grid. No alarms. No warning, just darkness, and in the void something moved. Silent, watching. Earth was no longer forgotten, and the empire that once mocked it was learning to be afraid. The scavenger ship Driftclaw moved slowly through the ruins of Sector 14, an old war zone, long abandoned by both governments and pirates. Thick dust clouds drifted between shattered stations and burned ships. It was a graveyard, a silent one. Captain Crix adjusted the scanner dial. No signals, no heat. Looks clean. His crew of 6 checked their gear. Salvage runs like this were routine. Pick up scrap, sell it to traders, move on. But today, something felt. "It's off. Something's down there," said Omi, the youngest. Of the crew, he pointed to a drifting object large, half covered in black ash. Crix zoomed in. It was a ship hull. But not just any ship. Terran model, human-made, and completely untouched by decay. They docked slowly, wary of traps. Crix led the crew through the outer airlock. The moment the doors opened, the smell of burning metal filled their noses. Lights flickered inside. Not dead. Just sleeping. "Power source, still active," Omi whispered. Corridor ahead was dark, lined with sharp armor plates. Everything looked human, but newer, stronger, upgraded. "No way this thing's been floating since the old war," said Crix. "This was built after Earth fell." That shouldn't have been possible, but it was. They pressed forward. The control bridge was sealed behind heavy doors. Crix used a torch to cut through. Then the lights came on by themselves. The ship was awake. A voice spoke through the speakers. Female, calm, robotic, unauthorized presence. Identify. The crew froze. Crix cleared his throat. "We're salvage. Just looking." The voice paused. Then it said one word. "Remember." The engines powered up. Lights pulsed red. The scavengers ran. They barely made it back to the Driftclaw before the dreadnought. Behind them lit its engines and vanished into the void faster than anything they had ever seen. Crix sat in silence. "That wasn't just one ship," he said. Omi nodded slowly. "That was a scout." The footage made it to the underground networks in less than a day. Black hole, human design, Terran AI voice, energy. Signature, unknown, experts argued. Some said it was a hoax. Others believed it was Reland, that if one ship had survived, there could be more. They were right, because the ghost fleet had risen. Far from prying eyes in a dark corner of space, dozens of ships gathered near a red dwarf sun. Each bore the old Earth markings, some newer, some ancient, all armed, all silent. This wasn't just a return. It was an organized resurrection. On board the largest ship, the Horizon's Wrath, Captain Vargas walked through rows of young recruits. They weren't children of Earth, they were children of survivors, humans born in exile, trained in secret, raised with one mission: never forget, never forgive. Is the fleet ready? Her second-in-command, Colonel Darien, nodded, fully charged. 70 ships active, the rest online within the week. Vargas turned to the command platform. Begin Operation Emberlight. The fleet roared to life. Meanwhile, back in the Varkeen capital, the Senate scrambled. Every system near the ghost zone was now seeing strange lights. Patrols went missing. Messages were intercepted. Sometimes the enemy said nothing. Other times they left a message. The stars watched. Earthburn. Now the stars will answer. In a secret session, General Sika showed the Council a new File 1 that had been locked for over 200 years. Project Shadow Exodus. It detailed how Earth's final fleet had escaped destruction. Not destroyed, not dead, just ... lost. One senator leaned back, face pale. We didn't finish the job. Another muttered, we made them monsters. Back in deep space, the Ghost Fleet attacked its next target, a Varkeen black site, known only to top generals. It was hidden in a nebula cloud, used for developing next-gen weapons. It didn't matter. They never saw it coming. From the moment the Earth's fleet appeared, the base had 7 minutes. By the time they called for help, it was already gone. Destroyed. Burned into nothing. A single message was left behind. Earth remembers everything. News of the Ghost Fleet spread fast. The galaxy, which once thought Earth was history, now feared its future. Alliances went dark. Alliances cracked. Planets began hiring. Mercenaries, building walls, shutting down ports. But nothing could stop what was coming, because the humans weren't coming to talk. They were coming to finish a war. In the Ghost Fleet, the last forgotten sons and daughters of Earth was already here. In the deep halls of the Grand Archive on Kirilon Prime, Scholar Vexa walked alone. She wasn't a soldier or a leader, just a historian. Her job was simple: read the old files, update the records, and make sure the past stayed buried. But today, the past refused to stay quiet. She had found something, an old data cube, locked behind 5 security walls. It wasn't on any index. It's no label, no permission stamp. Someone had tried to erase it, but they failed. And now, as she played the file alone in the vault, her hands trembled. The file was labeled Terran, Conflict Final Phase. The footage began, not of Earth burning, but of Earth fighting backhand. Nearly winning, a human fleet appeared in the video, dark and massive. They were supposed to be weak, broken, but they weren't. They were fast, clever, and ruthless. One scene showed 3 Earth ships taking down a Varkeen battlecruiser twice their size. Another showed a sneak assault that destroyed an entire Varkeen supply chain. And then came the last message, recorded by a Varkeen spy, just before Earth's supposed end. They know they can't win this war, so they plan to vanish, to rise again later. They call it Operation Emberlight. They mean it. Earth is not dead. It's waiting. The file ended. Vexa sat in silence. Everything she'd ever learned was a lie. Hours later, she stood before the Council of Truth, nervous, heart pounding. You are not permitted to access sealed files. A high-ranking official barked. I didn't break anything, Vexa said, holding up the data cube. It was already unlocked. Someone wanted it found. Council's faces darkened. One leaned forward. That operation was never real. It was Terran propaganda. No, Vexa whispered. It's real. They escaped. They planned this. And they're back. The officials stared at her for a long time. Then one finally spoke. This meeting is over. The guard stepped forward. She was removed, silenced, but it was too late because Bexa had made a copy, and she wasn't the only one watching. Across the stars, in the shattered belt of Signer's Edge, a rebel signal pulsed through the hidden networks. The footage spread like wildfire, not just to humans, but to the entire galaxy. And what it showed could not be denied. Earth didn't die. It was buried alive, and now it was clawing its way back with fire. On board the human warship Ashburn, Captain Vargas watched the leak with quiet satisfaction. It's begun, her officer said. They know now. Should have known long ago, Vargas replied. They believe their own lies. She looked at the glowing map before her Varkeen colonies, trade hubs, science stations. The next phase was about to begin. Prepare the message, she said, in the heart of the Varkeen capital. Every screen flickered, public and private alike. A human face appeared. Sharp eyes, calm voice. Dark uniform, it was Vargas. She spoke only once. You rewrote the past. Now we write the future with fire. Then the screens went black. Panic took hold. Governments demanded answers. How many humans were left? Where had they been? Hiding. Why were they back now? And worst of all, how much of their history had been faked? On a quiet moon station, retired war veteran named Halrex watched the video in silence. He had fought in the Terran War. He had seen Earth's power up close, and he remembered the one thing no one else dared say. We didn't beat Earth, he whispered. We outnumbered them, barely, and they still almost won. Now, it looked like they were ready to finish what they started. Back on the Ashburn, an alert lit up. A new target. Varkeen Data Vault, 09 a vault, filled with thousands of classified war records. Vargas stood. Time to burn their lies down. The attack was fast. The vault's outer defenses didn't even scratch the Earth ships within 6 minutes. The entire station was offline, and before it exploded, one last message echoed from the vault's speakers. You thought history forgot us, but we wrote it in blood. By the end of the day, 3 more data centers were destroyed. Old truth flooded back into the galaxy files that told of Earth's sacrifice, betrayal, and survival. People began to ask questions. Why were the archives changed? Who really ordered Earth's destruction? Why were those files sealed? And most terrifying of all, if Earth remembers everything, what else are they planning to bring back? Captain Vargas walked alone on the deck of the Ashburn, staring out into the stars. They told the galaxy we were gone, she whispered. She smiled. Now let's make them remember what it means when Earth returns. Silas Prime sparkled like a jewel in the black of space. It was a peaceful trade world, home to over 9 billion people. Merchants, tourists, diplomats. It was the place where enemies met to become allies. No weapons were allowed in orbit. No warships could dock. The whole system was protected by a powerful planetary shield. No one expected trouble until the fire came. High above Silas Prime, small watch station picked up a strange reading. Lieutenant Caro leaned forward. Something just entered the system. Big signature, unknown. His partner laughed. Another glitch. These scanners are older than my grandmother. But the signal grew stronger, clearer. Then came the image. A ship. Massive. Black as the void. No ID tag. No registry code. And yet, its shape was familiar. Terran. Officers stopped laughing. They sent a high-level alert to Planetary Command. But it was already too late. The dreadnought moved fast, straight toward orbit. Caro stared at the screen. Why isn't it slowing down? Then the alarms began. General Reek, head of planetary security, stood frozen before the main monitor. The black ship hovered above the city like a giant shadow. The defense systems blinked red useless. They couldn't lock onto it. I couldn't track it. Couldn't stop it? Rake's voice trembled. What is that? Voice came through OpenCOMM's, human.com. This is Earth's answer. Then came fire. A single energy pulse shot down from the dreadnought. It didn't hit a city. It didn't hit a building. It hit the planetary shield generator with one clean shot. The entire defense grid failed. Power went out across the northern hemisphere. Traffic crashed. Communications went dark. And then the dreadnought fired again. This time, it struck the Varkeen military tower at the capital's center. The explosion was seen from orbit. Millions watched in silence as the skies above Silius Prime burned. Across the galaxy, live broadcasts went out from hidden media drones. Footage of the black ship circling the planet. Cities in panic. The words etched in fire across the clouds by a plasma burst. Earth remembers. The news exploded. Social feeds, war networks. Pirate channels all filled with one image. A Terran dreadnought, alone, tearing apart the proudest world of the Varkeen Empire. And it wasn't finished. On the bridge of the Ashburn, Captain Vargas stood calmly. "Silius Prime is a message," she said. "No one else will forget us again." Her second-in-command, Colonel Darien, nodded. "Multiple fleets are forming. They'll respond soon." "Let them," Vargas said. She looked at the tactical map. Open channel. Wide broadcast. The communications officer nodded. Vargas stepped forward and spoke. "You erased our home. We warned you once. Now you learn what Earth became in the shadows. We are not conquerors. We are memory. We are fire. Next time we won't aim for the sky." In response, the Varkeen High Council declared a full war mobilization. But behind closed doors, they argued, how did Earth survive? How many ships did they have? Where were they hiding? The answers didn't matter, because now the war had already started, and Earth wasn't asking for forgiveness. Down on Silius Prime, among the ruins of the military tower, a child pulled a small metal shard from the rubble. On it was a Symbolan old Terran flag. She turned to her mother. "What does it mean?" Her mother whispered, "It means they're back." In a dark bunker on the planet's far side, an old Varkeen scientist watched the footage over and over. "They warned us," he muttered. 200 years ago, they told us not to come back, not to look for them." His assistant looked confused. "But we thought they were gone." The scientist shook his head. "No, they waited, they watched, and now they answer with fire." He looked out the window at the burning sky, and he knew this was only the beginning. The Varkeen Council met in complete silence. Their proudest trade, World Silius Prime, had burned. Not by pirates, not by rebels, by Earth, by a single ship, a Terran warship that wasn't supposed to exist. No one laughed now. No one doubted the rumors. They knew Earth was back, and Earth was angry. High Admiral Threx stood before the council table, his voice cold and sharp. "We underestimated them. This is no scattered fleet. It's organized. It's precise. They're hitting our most symbolic targets. They want us to fear them." "They succeeded," whispered one counselor. Another slammed his fist on the table. "We must stop this." Now a nervous diplomat raised his hand. "Or maybe we should speak to them." Everyone turned. The room froze. "Speak," Threx said. "With them." The diplomat continued, voice shaky but firm. "They clearly want to be remembered. Maybe if we reach out, apologize for the past." He didn't finish the sentence. But everyone knew what he meant. Maybe Earth would stop. 3 days later, a small envoy ship was launched. No weapons. No escorts. On board were 3 diplomats, 1 Talari, 1 Kailari, all from races that had once fought against Earth. They carried ancient artifacts, messages of peace, and a formal apology. Their mission: find the Terran fleet and ask for mercy. They didn't need to search. The Earth fleet found them. Mid-jump, the envoy ship was pulled out of hyperspace by a gravity well. Systems went dark. Lights flickered in front of them. 30 Terran ships appeared, silent and still. The envoy captain opened all channels. "This is a peaceful mission. We come to talk."
No answer.
Only silence. Then one transmission came through. Text only. Proceed. Crew held their breath as the black dreadnought, the Ashburn, approached and locked them in a tractor beam. They were pulled into its bay. Inside the Terran ship, the envoys were led down dark metal halls. No windows, no voices, just echoing footsteps and red warning lights. They were taken to a large chamber. Captain Ellen Vargas stood waiting, flanked by 2 armored guards. No smile, no welcome, just cold, unreadable eyes. The Varkeen diplomat stepped forward. We have come to talk, to seek peace, to apologize for what our ancestors did to Earth. Vargas stared at him for a long moment. Then she turned and motioned to a soldier. He stepped forward and opened a sealed case. Inside was a torn flag, old, burned, faded, but clearly the flag of Earth, the same one flown before the planet fell. Vargas spoke, her voice calm but sharp. You bring words, you bring memory. She stepped forward, and memory does not forget the fire you dropped on our cities, the silence you left our children in, the betrayal of every treaty, every lie you sealed. With a smile, the Talari envoy trembled. That wasn't us. That was hundreds of years ago. We want to fix this, Vargas. Cut him off. Can you bring Earth back? Our oceans, our forests, our families? The envoy said nothing. She continued. No, you can't. You never tried. You laughed. You taught our story as a warning. Painted us as monsters, then left us in the dark to die. Stepped back and pointed at the burned flag. You buried Earth, but we climbed out of the grave. The Kylori diplomat whispered, What do you want? Vargas turned to her crew, then answered, Without emotion, justice. The envoys were released alive but changed. They returned to the Varkeen capital with a message. Not a peace. Treaty. Not a deal. A warning. Earth does not want your sorry words. Earth is here to finish what you started in the following weeks. The galaxy held its breath. Earth's fleet moved like a storm. No demands. No talks. Just target after target. Erased military factories. Old command centers. Forgotten outposts used during the Terran Purge. Each time, they left behind the same message. You erased us. Now we erase your legacy. On a small colony called Drosin 3, children once learned about Earth in a short class. Chapter labeled, The Lost Mistake. But now they watched videos of Earth ships lighting up enemy fleets in seconds. The teachers didn't know what to say. One student asked, Were they really the bad guys? No one answered. Back aboard the Ashburn, Colonel Darien approached Captain Vargas on the command deck. The envoys. They were shaken. I think they hoped we'd take the gifts. Vargas stared at the stars. They thought we wanted their words, their pity. They still don't understand. Darien nodded. We'll make them understand. Vargas replied, No. We'll show them. Her eyes narrowed. Time for the next phase. She turned to the command screen. A new list of targets appeared. This time, they were not just military. They were historic sites, statues, museums, archives built to celebrate. The victory over Earth. Vargas tapped the first one, a citywide monument on Pharaoh's 9. It's called The Day Humanity Died. She smiled. It's time they forgot that day. The galaxy once told stories of Earth as a lost race. Now, they spoke in whispers, of ships in the dark, of weapons too, fast to track, of voices cold as winter, of an anger that didn't fade with time, and of a people who didn't ask for peace, because Earth wasn't interested in peace. Anymore, Earth had come to speak, and Earth spoke with fire. The sky above Pharaoh's 9 burned. Red dot ash rained over statues made of iron and pride. The monument named The Day Humanity Died crumbled as Terran plasma struck it like lightning from the stars. It had stood for 400 years. Now it was nothing but melted metal and dust. People ran. Sirens screamed. The government fled underground bunkers. But nothing could stop the Terran fleet above them, nothing. Because Earth had stopped asking for justice now. Took it. The Galactic Senate watched the destruction live. Every screen showed Terran dreadnoughts, hovering like silent ghosts over Pharaoh's 9. They didn't speak. They didn't send messages. They just destroyed, then disappeared. No one could stop them, not even the Council fleet. Every time a force was sent to stop them, it vanished, or worse, returned in pieces. On the Terran command ship Ashburn, Captain Ellen Vargas stood at the center of the bridge. She gave no orders. Her crew knew what to do. FERROS-9 had been the symbol. Now it was the warning. Vargas turned to Colonel Darien. Status: planets. Defense grid is down. Civilian buildings untouched. Just the monument, the old command center, and the archives clean sweep. Good. She paused. And the broadcasts. Live across 39 systems. No one can ignore this. Vargas nodded. They ignored us before, not now. In a far part of the galaxy, on a lush world called Talarian, panic had taken hold. The leaders of the Talari species met behind locked gates. They whispered of Earth's wrath, of cities lost, of empires shaking. One of them, Minister Vale, slammed his hand on the table. We tried to talk. We offered peace. Another replied, too late. They don't care about peace anymore. They're not listening. They want us to feel what they felt. The room grew quiet. Then someone whispered what they all feared. They won't stop, Will. They know, said Vale, voice shaking. They can't. Back on the Ashburn, the next target was chosen. A moon base on KLYXIS-4. Small, forgotten, but it once held. Earth's last prisoners, scientists and soldiers left to rot in the cold. Vargas gave the order, level it. But there's nothing there now, said a crew member quietly. Vargas looked at him. There were Terrans there. They were tortured, left to starve. We erase everything connected to it, he nodded. Yes, ma'am. No more questions. As the moon base vanished in white light, something strange began to happen across the galaxy. Whispers started. Small ones at first, then louder. Not of fear this time, but curiosity. On backwater planets and hidden stations, people who remembered the old Earth began to speak. Old humans, descendants of survivors, people who hid their history to stay alive now. They raised their heads and they smiled. Earth wasn't dead. It was awake, and it was stronger than ever. The galaxy had built an empire on Earth's silence. Now, that silence was filled with fire. One station, it's an old Terran rebel outpost called ECHO-7, suddenly lit up with a signal. It hadn't broadcast in centuries. Its words were simple. Earth lives. We rise with her. More followed. From old human. Colonies long thought lost. From alien races who once stood beside Earth. Even from defectors inside the Council. The movement spread like wildfire. Flags, old songs. The blue and gray of the Earth emblem reappeared on walls, ships, and cities. Vargas watched it all, and she didn't. Smile, not yet. This wasn't joy. This was purpose. This was war. In the Council's core world. Panic finally turned to desperation. They formed a secret emergency alliance. 12 species, one plan too. Trap Earth's fleet in a gravity sinkhole near the dead system of Vornis. Bait them with a fake distress signal. Ambush with everything they had. All or nothing. If Earth wasn't stopped, now there might be no galaxy left to save. 3 days later, the signal was sent. Vargas saw it. She knew it was a trap, and she walked right into it. The Ashburn and its escort fleet arrived first. Then the trap closed. Hundreds of ships, Council-class war cruisers, planet breakers, EMP nets, gravitic warheads. The sky turned black with ships. They thought Earth would panic instead. Vargas herself appeared on every enemy screen. She stood still, calm, and said just 3 words. This is earned. Then Earth's fleet vanished from sensors, jammed. No, hidden. The next 2 minutes were chaos. Council ships fired blindly into the dark, but they were hitting nothing then. Earth's counterattack began, not with weapons, with gravity, the space around the enemy. Fleet bent Earth had stolen their trick, but Earth, did it better. Enemy ships crashed into each other. Twisted by invisible fields, engines failed, weapons misfired, and from that spinning storm, Earth's ships reappeared, moving like ghosts, surgical, clean. They struck engines, power cores, weak points, never wasting fire. In 6 minutes, half the fleet was gone. The rest fled. Earth didn't chase them, didn't need to. The message had been sent loud and clear. The trap failed. But something else had happened. Something no one had expected. The people of the galaxy started to cheer. Not all. Not the council. But the forgotten ones. The poor. The rebels. The outcasts. The ones who had always lived under council boots. They saw Earth not as a threat, but as hope. The fire that wouldn't stop was starting to light up more than just the old wounds. It was lighting a new future. On the Ashburn, Vargas watched the news feeds. Some alien worlds were rising against their own leaders. Some were pledging allegiance too. Earth colonies were switching sides without a fight. Colonel Darien looked concerned. "This is bigger than revenge now." Vargas nodded. "I know. And what do we do?" She looked out at the stars. "Exactly what we've always done." She paused. "We speak." He tilted his head. "With fire." She looked at him, and this time she smiled. "No, with truth." Then her eyes turned cold again. "But if they don't listen, guess, with fire." Because the galaxy ignored Earth once, but never again. For 400 years, Earth had been silent. No messages, no signals, no warnings, just shadows and old memories. The galaxy thought Earth was dead, but now Earth spoke again, and the whole galaxy listened. The council called for an emergency broadcast. All species, all sectors, mandatory viewing. The galaxy needed unity. Fear had spread too far. Hope for the council was fading. Every channel lit up. Leaders from the 12 most powerful empires appeared on screen. They looked tired, angry, scared, one by one. They condemned the human attacks. They called them wild, lawless, a threat to peace. They begged Earth to stop. They demanded surrender. And then the screen changed. The council's feed was hijacked. Earth had broken through. Captain Ellen Vargas stood tall. Behind her, the symbol of old Earth, now reborn. It glowed deep blue. Her voice was calm, sharp. Final, she spoke only one time, but every word struck like thunder. We waited. Her eyes stared into the galaxy. We waited while you lied. While you erased our history. While you hunted our people and destroyed our cities. We asked for peace. She paused. But peace died with our last ambassador when your blades cut him down on live broadcast. A hush fell across the stars. You took our silence as weakness. She leaned closer to the screen. That was your first mistake. We came back not for war, but for memory, for justice, for truth. Now, she looked out beyond the stars. Come so no one forgets who we are again. She ended the message with the words burned into every Terran heart. Earth lives. Earth remembers. Earth rises. Then the screen cut to black. The galaxy held its breath. Some wept. Others cheered, and many feared. What came next? Would Earth burn everything, or build something new? Across forgotten colonies, something strange happened. Not war, unity. Old Terran, Alice thought. Extinct sent messages, one by one. Zarnathians, from the frozen belt. Once Earth's friends, Skarna warriors, who once fought beside humans in the siege of Syraxis. Even the Roken, once bitter enemies, sent a sign. Not a weapon. A white banner peace. The council's control shattered faster than war could spread. Governments fell. Crowds chanted Earth's name. And from the silence, something powerful rose. A movement not made by fire but by faith. But Earth did not stop. Not yet. Not until one last place was visited. One final world. Sin Nix-Prime. The place where Earth's last defense fleet was slaughtered. Where the Terran, where children were taken. Captain Vargas stood on the bridge of the Ashburn. Stood on the bridge of the Ashburn. Her crew watched the planet on the screen. It glowed with cities and luxury built on bones. She turned to Colonel Darien. No weapons. No bombs. No fear. Then what? He asked. Her voice was cold. Memory. The Ashburn descended into orbit. No guns fired. No alarms screamed. Earth did not attack. It spoke. A signal beamed into every building on Senex Prime. Every screen turned. Black Dot then showed footage long thought erased. Children locked in cells. Terran diplomats killed. Cities burned while the council cheered. It played without sound. But the pictures were enough. The people of Senex Prime fell silent. Some screamed. Some dropped to their knees. The truth could not be denied. Anymore, their comfort was built on horror, and Earth had just held. Up the mirror, no shot was fired that day, no blood spilled. But the city fell all the same. The council government fled. Citizens stormed their palaces, and outside, Ashburn simply hovered watching. When the people raised the flag of Earth from their highest tower, only then did the ship turn and leave. Earth didn't need to rule. It just needed to be seen, to be known, to be remembered. Back on Earth, yes. Earth, real Earth, the blue planet still alive under heavy shield and dark skies. The survivors gathered. They looked up at the stars for the first time in centuries. They were proud, not just to survive, but to rise. Captain Vargas stood among them. She wasn't wearing a uniform anymore, just gray and blue, old colors. She watched as a group of alien children, refugees from lost worlds, played beside Terran children. No fear between them. No hatred. Just new beginnings. Darien walked up beside her. It's starting, he said quietly. She nodded. We came to remind the galaxy of who we are. He looked up at the stars, and now, she smiled. Now we remind ourselves. In the months that followed, the Terran Alliance was formed. Not an empire, not a council, an idea. One that stood for truth, defense, memory, and justice. Old allies joined. New ones asked to be part of it. An Earth once broken now stood taller than ever. Its voice no longer silent. Its people no longer hiding. Its memory no longer forgotten. The galaxy tried to erase Earth, but Earth didn't vanish. It waited. And when the time came, it answered with fire and then with peace. So now, whenever someone tells a child a story about the stars, they always end it with the same words. Respect the silence. Fear the memory. Never forget Earth. Because when Earth spoke again, the galaxy listened.